Welcome to Thoughtfully Mindless. My guest in this episode is Illia Pashkov. Illia is an award-winning futurist producer and art and creative director who brings over 15 years of experience in design, innovation, sustainability, and strategy. His expertise spans working successfully with enterprise companies, startups, and emerging technologies, demonstrating a passion for blending art and technology. In this conversation, we talk about blockchain technology, Web3, future innovations, AI, and much more. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. And with that, let's welcome Illia. All right, Illia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so I know you've told your story a bit and everything, but how did you get into innovation and blockchain and all of that? I know you were into computers at a young age, so maybe just a brief overview of how you got into everything.
Right. I mean, the first blockchain meeting for me was actually, I think Bitcoin was around like $40 at that time, and I think I had to pay for some services online, and everyone was just like buzzing around. It was just like the first wave of like Bitcoin is going to be the new revolution on the market. Everyone should know about it. Everyone should buy it. I was a bit like skeptical, but interested. What is it? But then I think I was looking for to do like some like first transactions to buy something, and I have to buy the Bitcoin to make it happen. It was like some Bitcoin only payment, and for me it was just like interesting to see how the new cryptocurrency works. So I bought the first Bitcoin and made the first transaction. I don't think that time it was no wallets. Pretty much you have to store your Bitcoin. I was storing it on my computer. You have your hash key, but there was no like a hard wallet or soft wallet back then. And we were buying like pizza and some other stuff with my friends and thinking about to start like mining. And yeah, that was like my first meeting with the cryptocurrency was back in Ukraine.
So I listened to another interview you did, and you lost all of your Bitcoin that you bought at $40. Is that right?
Yes. I lost. I had around 80 bitcoins on that wallet. My computer got stolen from my office, and because there was no wallet, the computer itself was, you know, in my office. So I lost access to that computer. I lost access to that wallet.
Yeah.
And then when I figured it out that I don't have any duplicates, it was already too late.
Yeah. So 80 Bitcoin. What are we at right now with Bitcoin? Like almost, we're over 40,000, right? We're at like 44, 43.
Yeah,
So what is that?
yeah,
Like quite a bit. That's several $1,000,000 now.
yeah, yeah. Quite a loss, but
Did losing that make you hesitant to buy more later, to get more into it later? Or
it's interesting because I kind of forgot about that I have bitcoins at all because I was not checking the price, and I remember that it was like not a lot of money at that moment, so I
yeah.
was not too upset. I wasn't even worried about that I have it, and then at the moment when it started to be like, I think like 800 or $1,000, I was like, hey, wait a second, I think I had some bitcoins, so I had to check where is it and where is my computer. But at that moment
Yeah.
it was already too late. To be honest, I was not crazy upset because I understood that it's a sign that I have to like learn more and like do a better dive into the cryptocurrency itself, and can like be more aware of what's happening. So that's why it's for me it was a very big push to learn and teach myself how to store cryptocurrency correctly, and how the blockchain works, and all the other things. So I think it was like a first flag to me that, hey, this is serious. It's not just like it's going to be revolutionary. Because when I
Yeah.
was buying it first time, for me it was just like I'm not sure if it's how long it gonna last, that project in general. Bitcoin, what is it? Maybe it's another like just hype or something. It's gonna disappear in a year. But then I think I had like a more heavier hit. I think in 2017 It was that was the time when I already knew everything, and already was crypto evangelist. I was like talking about cryptocurrency on the conferences, and talking about decentralization, a revolution in tech in general. And I pretty much converted all my fiat into crypto, and I was accepting crypto only. And it was like,
Mm.
I think it was a big mistake because I was so much, pumped that crypto is growing so fast, and the price, you pretty much making money every day. More you put, more you make. Your assets is growing every day, and it's just like rapidly rocket skying, and new coins launching, and also you can make like 30x, 50x. It's like it was just something insane, and people were at that moment at very interesting. It was very like interesting mindset of the people that I met around the world who was in crypto, because it reminded me a little bit of like a Wolf of Wall Street movie, because everyone just like a regular software developer just became crazy rich and just started to buy Lambos, and like it's just like some
Yeah.
nonsense. So at that moment, I remember that it was pretty heavy hit because I was storing everything in crypto, and one day, I'm just like waking up and I see that like there's like minus 50% of what I had. And then I was like, no, 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 it's
Yeah.
going to recover. It's crypto. Everything is going to be good. And minus 25% again. And I was like, okay, okay. But, because I have to, pay my expenses in fiat, and most of the expenses I had was in USD. So I had to convert crypto back, and already when I need to pay salaries for my team, for my people, and like pay all other things that I have to pay, it was just very painful and very heavy hit. I remember that.
Yeah, I started getting into crypto in 2017 and I put a lot of money, a lot of my fiat into crypto, and then I watched it go up a little bit, and then I watched it. I would have been better off having waited 6 months to start buying, but you learn, right? But
Yeah, that's how I learned. And then like after that 2017, you started to treat money, crypto a bit different. You have to learn how to be cold to big loss and big win. Less be emotional, because it's just like numbers, numbers on your account. You know, these numbers could be huge and you can buy everything, or
yeah,
it could be very small. But technically, it doesn't change much in your life. I mean, change of course, but if you treat it as everything you have, and you like rely on it all your life, and it just doesn't make sense. You have to understand that this is just a currency that you know and this is life, and this is currency, and
yeah.
don't be so affected by it. And that's kind of like most important thing, even though it's opening a lot of doors and opening a lot of potential in this life.
Bitcoin and crypto in general still have a lot of doubters. What would you say to people that consider, I've heard Bitcoin called a Ponzi scheme. What would your response to that kind of criticism be in general?
I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. Of course, it's very manipulative, but I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think it's actually made by developers with really good ideas and thoughts to create like a decentralization, to build an opposition of current financial systems. Because if you're thinking about the current financial systems, isn't it a Ponzi scheme? Isn't it? Do you feel like everything is legitimate there? It's
Yeah.
just like on the large scale, way bigger game that way more messed up. So I feel like, of course, is the speculation is high in cryptocurrency, and manipulations of the market is very high as well. But an idea that you can pretty much you don't have a third party that you need to pay some really big fees, or you can actually have direct connection between two like buyer and seller, let's say. I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think it's just like another technological step in like that innovates the financial system in general, that opens way bigger doors of what's the money is in general.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I got into crypto in 2017, I got into it because my dad, I found out he was buying some like Litecoin and different coins, and I went and read the Bitcoin white paper, and I was like, yeah, I'm behind this. And I wish I had read it years earlier because I was hearing about it. I was just kind of brushing it off. But it seems like a lot of people are not quick to adopt technologies often. I think that, I mean, people said the internet was a fad at one point, and as we can see, it's far from a fad. It's here to stay
Right.
for sure. I had a coworker at the last company I worked with. He didn't like Bitcoin, and he said, and it was a software company we were working for, which made it kind of funny to me. He said, it doesn't really exist. It's not real. And I was thinking, it's code, just like the company we're working for is code. Like our jobs exist because of code, and that's what it is. So I thought it was kind of funny that that was his opinion when he worked at a software company.
Some people are innovators, like people who are, they see in the potential in something, then run to it, and they just pushing this innovation forward. I consider myself such a person. And some people, they're very conservative. They just like, oh no, like I don't like anything new, so I have like, this is my stable situation here right now, and I have to double check everything. And it's also good, the balance is always good, because if you are running too fast and jumping into innovation, you'll always losing way more than you just being a conservative and checking this like stability in your life, even though it's less interesting to me.
Yeah.
But it's not just the code, like code is just one part of it. It's also based on the electricity you spend to mine. It's a lot of electricity to burn, right? So it's already you can like you invest something to get something. So isn't it like United USD? Is it like fully real, because it's could be printed as much as possible, and what is it backed on, like military? Like very interesting. But technically, here we have electricity, we have the code, we have amount of users who using it. So you pretty much invest in resources of the network that's pretty expensive in general to run. That what create value already. So imagine how many mining
Yeah.
how many mining servers running, how many electricity need to burn just to generate such a network in general as a Bitcoin, and just one Bitcoin, but how many of them there? So I already see the value in it. So when people asking what is it like backed on, I was like, at least these resources that were spent to run it. But the most important piece is just like amount of people who hold it, and amount of people who using it,
Yeah.
and amount of people who believe in it. So as long as there is like three people or two people who believe that Bitcoin gonna have some value, and same as any physical object, you can exchange physical objects into something and say like, I want like $50 for this. Like, okay, I'm ready to buy for 100. Okay, let's do it for
Yeah.
80, and you exchange it. So it's still gonna exist, because money is the same as not real. It's just like people just not fully understand it.
Yeah. I feel like money isn't very well understood by a lot of people. And you touched on it. Like money can just be printed. Like US dollars, if anything's a Ponzi scheme, it's kind of US dollars because your share of US dollars is constantly being diluted. Versus if you have a tenth of a Bitcoin or a Bitcoin, you have a certain percentage of the entire Bitcoin that will ever be produced. I think it's 18 million or whatever. And that's never going to change. But with the US dollar, it's going to change basically every day.
hmm
So
hmm
it's funny to me when people call it a Ponzi scheme. Do you see Bitcoin as like digital gold, or how do you view Bitcoin specifically?
I think it's a definitely an asset that created pretty much so many new different assets. So that created revolution in fintech in general.
Yeah,
I don't usually call it gold, because for me gold is very, it's very physical. There is some analogy that you can say that Bitcoin is the digital gold, even though the gold price less volatile, I would say, than Bitcoin price,
yeah,
and less manipulated. But there is, some similarity in it. There is definitely some limitation of the resources that you can get. So there is a limit of Bitcoins could be launched. but I feel like the Bitcoin is like the main currency that opened the doors for all other currencies to be launched to do all this revolution. Like so many different good blockchains, good tech being developed after this. So it's
Yeah.
just like a like a leader of the crypto market. And I don't think it's going to disappear so easy, because I feel like the price of the Bitcoin, let's say, if we're going to think about next like 50 years, definitely going to be increasing very high. So it's really great asset if you're thinking about to something you would like to invest in long term and share with your generation. That's something that I consider is a good investment, long term investment. Like for, let's say, you want to have a wallet that you're going to give to your kids, and your kids going to give to your to your grandkids, for example. That will be
Yeah.
perfect investment, because I believe that Bitcoin price is going to be like pretty high in the next 10, 20 years, let's say. We can see like what happened for the past 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And that's the, I'm not even talking, about what's could be happening several like 2 5 years, let's say. But in long term, it's definitely a good investment, like gold that you can store. But of course, if you want to have some short strategies in crypto, you have to consider different other currencies, tokens, something that you can trade with, and generate faster revenue for yourself.
Are there other blockchains that you see a lot of long-term potential with?
I mean, I usually, like, it's such a good question, but there's definitely a lot of good, technology developed. But I usually keep myself with the top 10 leaders on the market. I like to explore different ones. So I would mention, of course, Ethereum, Solana, Polygon. I like also. I think like 0x also good and was good at some point. There's a lot of really good tech that's been developed. I don't like to, there's like a different game in crypto. I'm probably familiar with it. There is a really heavy tech game where, nerds, developers, smart geniuses, they build in some solutions, and they actually focusing on developing, some innovation, technological innovation in the space. And there are traders, market makers who actually making money and monetizing those tokens. So I'm myself more on the tech, R&D side. So I'm less trader, but I have, because I'm in crypto, I have a lot of traders and a lot of people who are on that side of the crypto market. And it's totally different game. So here you focusing on developing faster faster transaction, let's say, the tech that can solve some problems, finding the solution, how to make it more sustainable, green coins, and like
Yeah.
different ways to like transformation into that space. And on the other hand, they are sometimes seeing like people just pumping and dumping all the time, and they just make a huge ton of money on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is kind of like, this is cool that you can possibly do it on the market making. So you can, somebody launched the token, they put a lot of assets, liquidity, and then they pumped the token very high.
Yeah.
And then when all the other people jumped in, they just like take it out, and like they made huge ton of money and disappeared somewhere. I see a lot of examples like that, and it's kind of it's like it's the it's exist in all the aspects of the life, of course, because people always passionate about making money, and they find in the ways how to monetize themselves faster. Myself, I'm more on the tech side, and I like to use tech to solve some problems. And being a tech person, for me, it's more interesting game than just making money. But I'm fully familiar that part exists. Sometimes I'm even trying to buy some tokens, some currencies that I don't even know. I just like see some signals that traders and some private networks just said, buy this token is going to be 30x, 50x, and then you like burn all the money after you bought it.
Yeah.
It's just like, there is no guarantee that you can get something, but the game is definitely interesting.
Yeah. The rug pulls are very frustrating. As a believer in crypto and blockchain in general, it's very hard to see that, because what happens is people who are naive and new to the market, they get into it, they get all of their money lost, and then they're soured on it and they don't want to get back in ever.
Hmm.
And it's unfortunate. And then of course, we have the meme coins that don't really add anything of value, but people just jump on them. If Elon Musk says a word, people create an Ethereum coin about that word. It's pretty
That's so
wild to see.
crazy. I hear from people like, "Oh, this is the new coin that Elon Musk launched." I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, Elon Musk is like so busy doing his things. Like I'm imagining he's like actually launching every coin, every token after he posts something. But actually, just like a few days ago, I was like, "Have you bought Doji? Doji is gonna be like growing super fast. So this is like you have to buy all like just put your everything you have just in Doge. You're gonna get so much access." I was like, "Okay, thank you, thank you for the signal." So I know maybe it's gonna
yeah,
help somebody. I just got it a few days ago, so
yeah. You got some Doge?
yeah, I got a little bit, not a lot to be honest. I was, there was a moment where I was working with my guys, my developers. So we were building the trading bot, and they very heavy like traders, so they do like automated trading system. And that time I was buying a lot of Doge. It actually was like when Elon Musk was hyping a lot on it.
Yeah,
So we were building this system that you can, automatically, invest, reinvest, buy, sell, and it up. And we had some good results, but when the market went down, and it didn't work well to me. So I'm not a professional trader, to be honest. And
yeah,
for me, it's this game like trading. It's just like I see a lot of successful people who doing that, but like my mindset is not as there. I'm more like I like to create things. I like to solve problems. I like to find the ways how to improve something, and that's kind of like that's how my brain works.
yeah. Yeah, let's go into that a little bit. What are some of the problems that you see blockchain solving over the coming years?
Um, Yeah, it's very very interesting because like I had like very deep conversations with blockchain guys, and like we were talking about that, what actually impact the blockchain meant, because we were talking about like 10 years already talking about this decentralization and revolution and everything, but what physically is actually helped, if there is like actual problem that it solved. People been transferring money, easy using wires, let's say Swift. People were trading. People were doing, very similar financial iterations. So there was no much crazy innovation. But for me, I think that actually, ability to disattach from current financial system to build something independent and decentralized. It was a very important step where every company can create their own currency, create their own token, and pretty much create the internal like financial system that you can easily own the money of the company that you like. That was the big like evolution in fintech in general as the
Yeah,
next step. Ability to disattach from the third parties, as I said, it's also pretty big step in blockchain. It's been used in security a lot. We've been building project for data security and privacy on the blockchain. So having additional layers of storing the data, such as like IPFS, Filecoin, things like that.
yeah,
Project called Ghost Drive. We've been working on it for quite some time. It's very interesting space, even though the results technically, like you can make everything super private and use blockchain as additional security layers. Just the speed and connection of that process sometimes could be not as as fast as you want, for example. To be honest, I think that blockchain. So there was like I was just actually like talking about it like a few days ago. I think there was like an internet creation, right, and huge like transformation into the moment where blockchain was started, right, and Bitcoin was
yeah,
started, and then the next step is AI. So I feel like the biggest revolution is actually just happening with AI and applying blockchain with AI. So for me, like that part was just like innovation that disrupt the fintech, innovation that create that centralization, that open these big doors for like the apps and like pretty much like all the new way of even development and like thinking about what is the fintech is. But the AI itself, as a technological revolution, is way bigger than blockchain. So we pretty much just like a step by step growing. So I feel like the biggest transformation going to be when we're going to apply AI and blockchain together. So when the AI going to be pretty much solving some issues on the blockchain and building their own blockchains and create this decentralization together. So that's like we at this step that we can have this bigger problem solved with AI.
Yeah, I mean, blockchain really, what blockchain is a database, right? A decentralized database or a shared ledger kind of database, right?
Yep, technically yes.
So, like, I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, AI is much bigger than blockchain because AI just has so many use cases, so many possibilities.
Exactly.
But blockchain does have the ability to create kind of more transparency in certain things. Like, if you have,
Oh yeah, definitely.
let's say, like the stock market, if you were to tokenize or put the stock market on a blockchain, you could potentially eliminate a lot of corruption, right? Like, if you knew exactly if it was like tokenized shares instead of like paper shares or digital shares that can be manipulated, you wouldn't have, big hedge funds being able to sell shares that they don't really have and stuff like that, like double selling shares. Am I right?
100%, 100%. I think like for me, just like very obvious. That's why I'm like, I was thinking about what new I can add to it. But yeah, of course, the transparency and actually using it on the government level. That I think is one of the best use cases. With the voting abilities. With the abilities to make the transparent transaction and transparency in the chains in general, like a food chain or in the government system as a security part, and having their own currency on the government level. So I think that's where blockchain could
Yeah.
be applied and have the best use case. But a lot of governments, they're just pushing it a little bit back. So they need time to apply it correctly, to the banking system. Even like
Yeah.
even in US, like the regulations, the SEC and everything, they've been stopping the evolution of the blockchain pretty bad. Even though all the
Yeah.
companies like JP Morgan and all other ones, they've been heavily applying and learning and using the blockchain features, to see how the technology can be used and what it could improve in the system. But yeah, the blockchain did its evolution in general in the tech market. But I feel like the AI just having way bigger impact on tech and humanity in general than just the
Yeah.
blockchain. But of course, without blockchain evolution, there wouldn't be like this fintech transformation, and we wouldn't be where we are.
To touch on what you said about like the SEC, blockchain does have some pretty big opponents. I think in the US Senate, the biggest opponent is probably Senator Warren. Do you think it has enough resistance that they can actually kill crypto and blockchain, or do you think it's going to thrive and move forward no matter what?
I don't think that it possibly can kill crypto. It just doesn't make sense to kill it. I don't see the sense of doing it, especially knowing on the government level of if you're talking about the United States, that China is actually very heavily focused on building their own internal blockchain and they're very closed. So I feel like for US, just to be less innovative than other countries, they're gonna be lose the competition and like being top tech uh, country in general. So I don't think that crypto could be killed, and it's just like they're just like balancing it. But as I said, even though the official laws launched that this is not allowed and we pushing it back, there's a lot of companies who actually building, exploring, and doing a heavy R&D in it and applying it already. It's just like it's just not as used as in some different in some other countries. And it's very interesting. Actually, very surprised, because U.S. I mean, there is a pros and cons in it, like because U.S. being such a great innovator in tech, yeah, and the Silicon Valley, and the great place for innovation, and really, really heavy regulations as well. So with that regulation, U.S. was always like couple of steps back compared to all other countries on that side, because I'm consider myself as a nomad, travel around the world, and I see different tech solutions on different markets, different countries.
Yeah.
So even the banking system, like when I was coming from Ukraine, like 10 years ago to United States, and just seeing like regular banking applications that like Chase or Bank of America, compared to what we had like 12 years ago in Ukraine, we had way more innovative banking system. You can pay anything, and I'm not talking about the WeChat, for example. That with WeChat in China, you can like literally pay for any type of services. Just scan a QR code, you pay your utilities, you communicate with everyone. So you have banking system attached to it, and things like that. So US like very slowly developing it with its regulation, but you know I don't think that is it like makes sense to kill it in general, because who's going to compete with all other countries and currencies and chains, especially currently with USD losing its position on the world currency market. I
Yeah.
think uh, I think the blockchain and cryptocurrency actually can help US to get the leaders' positions back.
I agree. A word that gets thrown out a lot is CBDCs, centralized digital currencies. With those, are we actually dealing? So, if it's a centralized currency controlled by a central bank, are we dealing with blockchain in that instance, or are they just kind of hijacking the word blockchain?
But you mean it depends? Yeah, I think a good question. I think that's how the Ripple started, right? They've been backed by the heavy banks back in the days. I remember there was a big consideration regarding, is it like a pure blockchain in general, or they still backed by the banks and just like trying the banks just trying to get into the innovative space and just get the position. I think I think it's both, because big banks, government, they want to get the piece of the pie, of course, and don't miss the train. And that's why they create the regulation, and that's why they create different projects that could be fully controlled. Because imagine that government or JP Morgan or some big financial institution, they just lose an ability to control the finances that they used to control. For them, it's pretty big and heavy hit. So that's why they come in from perspective of their ownership. So on the tech side, technically it's the blockchain, but on the centralization and ownership side, it's not like something that decentralized or disattached.
Yeah.
But those centralized currencies are still going to exist, because that's the only one way. So they're still going to apply blockchain as a technology. They're still going to have this a database, ledgers, and all the tools that the blockchain, smart contracts. But yeah, they're going to be owned by big corporation or the government.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that in the end, cryptos like decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other ones can win out over CBDCs in general. Because, in my opinion, fiat money and the ability for central banks to just print money as much as they want is really what kind of enables war and things like that. Because there's really no money in war.
Exactly,
So they print the money and then they tax you through inflation down the road to pay for their war, you know?
exactly. We're quite familiar with the current world situation. Yes.
Yeah. With Alter Metaverse, is that just blockchain or is it using AI as well? And can you kind of paint a picture of what the metaverse is for people that don't understand?
So I was working in AR VR space for quite some time for the past 10 years, and the idea of building altar came from idea to connect different metaverses. And the way how I found it, it was again one of the R&Ds we did like a long time ago while we've been working with the blockchain. Just NFTs just started to be a thing, and I was just thinking about the future of communications and how users are going to be interact with each other, and if it's possible to store some different objects attached, like virtual objects or digital objects attached to the physical ones, and like the idea of the having the AR or virtual reality around you, the different advertising, imagining like a virtual Times Square. And that's what I was seeing as the metaverse, like something that like metaverse was not a thing back then. It was just
Yeah.
like the future of how the communications possibly could happen. So I started to do like R&D with my team, with my friends, and like brainstorming a lot on that topic, and try to find some interesting use cases, how we can merge different technologies, what we can adopt, and what we can build. So it came from the idea that everyone is going to be building their own metaverse. It's the same as everyone going to have different games, like GTA, Mortal Kombat, or like
Yeah.
Sandbox, or Decentraland. Doesn't matter. It's just like little environments, little metaverses that are people playing with or living in. They just exist, virtually exist there in those spaces. And why is why we can just create a unified profile that can store different objects and could be linked to your wallet. And those objects that you store on that profile on the wallet technically is your assets, NFTs. And NFTs itself contain different 3D objects, 3D assets, as well as they contain physical objects, as well as they could be technically asset because they have price that they can be sold on the secondary market.
Yeah.
So it's same as you own any physical object. You know that these physical objects cost like $300, but imagine that you own this physical object virtually and physically, digitally. So you have like a digital object that you own. You hold in your hand this object, but technically you can use that object in any metaverse, in any game, or in any reality that can accept to log in with your profile or wallet. And in one of the metaverses, this could be like a fully high level Unreal Engine based graphics that is going to be like a sword of power. And some
Yeah.
metaverse like some game like Minecraft is going to be boxed graphics, but it's still going to have some functionality and going to give you some additional possibilities because you own that NFT as an asset. And then technically, because that NFT could be dynamic, you can store different activities or different points that you are gaining while you're using that object. So the price of that object is increasing with the time, and then you can sell it more expensive. Things like that. So it's just like that's how is the main core idea behind Alta, to create a space where you store all your meaningful items, some and and those items are assets, and you can pretty much use them in different metaverses. So we've been bridging different chains, and there is no reason to use just only one at that time, and pretty much building the different assets for different metaverses and connecting them as an NFTs with different chains. So it's pretty much Polygon, Ethereum, Binance Chain, Solana. That's the main one we used to use that items in NFTs. So we built several engines. One metaverse is on Unity, one metaverse is on Unreal. I was still doing a lot of R&D in metaverse space, working with the big companies. And currently, Alter as a project, we got to the point where I even had the fund to invest pretty good amount of money. And right at that moment, the like market crash happened, so I have to put everything on hold.
Yeah.
The restructure the teams, so we switch into the R&D mode, and the teams working, on we're doing like some R&D for the big companies, and I'm actually focusing on the transformation of alter into we have to adapt. The market is moving so fast. Whatever you want to launch at the moment when it was launched, even though we built tech, I think the amount of money we spent, it was like around 1.5 million just to build some metaverse experience, around 2 millions, around 2 millions with the blockchain and different metaverse engines, and then and then with the metaverse like market crash, everybody was like, oh yeah, nobody gonna be using metaverse. It's like, okay, like, let's wait 2 3 years.
Yeah.
So we have the tech, we have the wallet build, we have the integrations built, we have a lot of crazy like R&D that we build, like for example the generators. That was my favorite one. We can generate 100,000 of cars just in a matter of like hours. Hundred of thousands,
Hmm.
100,000 different unique cars with different attributes.
Yeah.
Imagine like Need for Speed or any car game that are automatically randomly generated by the algorithm, and that car has the smart contract that contains the attributes of every 3D object that an attribute in a smart contract. So if you have different type of wheels, lightings, or anything, those attributes stored in the smart contracts, and
Hmm.
that's how you're going to have different gaming abilities, or that's how that NFT going to be different from the other ones. So it's not just a 3D object, but also a smart contract that automatically generated through the system. A lot of cool stuff. I like playing with tech, and I like to find some different innovations in it.
The gaming aspect is really cool and really interesting because I don't play games too much anymore, but I have in the past, and it kind of sounds like you have at least at some point in your life. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Have you been a gamer at different points in your life? Maybe.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I love. I just don't have much time lately to play. I wish I had more,
Yeah.
but uh, I love playing games. I used to play way more when I was younger, of course,
Yeah.
and sometimes I can play even right now just for fun, but it's not as something that I do regularly. I don't consider myself like a gamer because I feel like gamers are
Yeah.
people who just spend an every day just playing the games. I can do it
Yeah.
like once in a month, maybe once in 3 months, maybe once a year sometime. But I used to play a lot. I used to play a lot like back in the days, GTA. I can like name my favorite games, by the way: GTA, Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed, all the top like French games,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Counter Strike, Quake, and pretty much all the part Diablo, Warcraft, Starcraft, Duke Nukem. That's the games I was growing up playing, and
Nice.
you're probably familiar with those.
Yeah. Yeah. People invest a lot of time into games, and you often get, you know, cool drops and stuff like that. Especially now, like the drops are a big feature of many games, and then one day you just stop playing the game. Your friends aren't playing it anymore, and all those drops that you got are nothing. You'll never see them again unless you start up that game. So the NFT aspect will allow you to bring those into the future games that you play, right? Even if it's just as a trophy. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes. So like NFT could be like that's the beauty of the NFT that is could be a part of that ecosystem of, let's say, one like game one ecosystem. They launch their own NFT as the attribute, or like loyalty, or any type of drop that they launched. That's why I like that's why I built the concept of Alter, that is like kind of like a third party NFT that actually can contain in the smart contract. You can contain a relationship between different games. So it doesn't mean that you're just gonna have something in one game. It's like more partnership you
Yeah.
build, like you launch an NFT that actually valuable in many of them, and that what's create, you know. way more value for the NFT itself, for the idea of owning that attribute that you just play in this game and you stop playing, but you play in the next one, but you still have some sort of like bonuses or perks or some attributes that you can use and apply. That's one thing. But the aspect of like being gamer or not, I think even though if like you're not playing game, I feel like we still playing some sort of like a games in our life always, even though it's not like technically like Mortal Kombat or something. But we, the human beings, from the user experience perspective, from the experience perspective, they like to have fun. They like to have engagement always. They like to get like freebies and free stuff and things like that. So the gamified models that could be applied in real life, that's where I see very, very, very big potentials, because we can use those models that people like in the games applied to the real life. Like simple things like Foursquare back in the day started, or like Swarm currently, Foursquare, where you can check in different places and you make points. I don't think that they made it obvious how you can exchange those points, but technically you just traveling around the world, checking in different locations and making points based on that. That's like the gamified model that create some sort of like an engagement and fun for you, or like a find to earn models, play to earn models. For example, I was building the game called Mad Backpacks. It's a very interesting game based on very similar tech that we built on Altar. It's an AR game where you are buying the NFT backpack. You can upgrade that backpack. You can breed that backpack, but you have AR experience in playing mini games specifically on some locations, and those experience mainly is collecting different cryptocurrencies. So you can grow your backpack bigger, so you can collect more coins and play more games, so make more money. So it's pretty much like a merge of like Pokemon Go, Steppen, and
Hmm.
a couple of different, innovative tech games applying find to earn, play to earn models. So with that, for me, the metaverse in general, I see it not as the Matrix VR helmets and we all like attached to the space where we just fully live virtually and exploring the virtual spaces. For me, I would like to people get outside, explore the nature, help the planet, help the nature, and play those games with the metaverse. But metaverse more like an XR ability. So you're wearing goggles, you have like special devices that helps you to get some sort of experience and make some achievements, while they're playing. So it's less internal and more external type of experience, and that's why Alter for me was always like XR. Even though we build the metaverse spaces that people can get in, but I was focusing heavy on AR and XR, preparing everything for the goggle stack.
Yeah. So, do you mean with the AR, are you kind of like mapping the real world and having the metaverse
Yes.
kind of incorporated into it? Okay.
Yep. So that's how so very much you use like the coordinates, the system of coordinates of the planet, same as Google Maps, let's say, right? So we have the
Yeah.
coordinates points. On those points, you can drop any type of NFTs experience. Each NFT could be collectible that you just need to find, let's say, or it could be a token. And then based on that, you create a virtual experience. So now currently you have to like walk around with the phone and like find it, but because the goggles are still developing and everyone is excited, and we'll be even more excited after Apple gonna launch their device.
Mm.
So we've been working in the space preparing the tech for the experiences like that. And even the cannabis project you probably have seen, we launched in LA the cannabis project that was actually very AR heavy and containing blockchain as well. But the idea that you can see every product, so pretty much that's how we disrupting the e-commerce in general, because you can
Yeah.
first of all you can see every product in 3D, and sometimes you most of the time you can see just only the image, but now you can open it fully and you see what's inside, how it looks like. But then it's also contained an NFT, so we use blockchain for as the loyalty points. and more NFT you collect, more products you buy, you are opening different perks and discounts for yourself as a user. Yep. So that was, kind of like how you can apply those, you know, experiences in tech that are not fully clear for regular people, because I really love Web3. But for most of the people, they just don't understand why they need it. What's the point? Like, why I need
Yeah.
to install MetaMask, or why I need that wallet? Why I need to collect those NFTs? What is it? What's the point? Like, just for me, it's enough already of applications. But building something for Web2 users who are fully Web2 and then have an ability for them bridge it with Web3 as something beneficial, so that can clearly understand, okay, now if I'm getting this NFT, I'm just connecting this MetaMask wallet to my profile that are actually, regular Gmail profile, and when I'm claiming that NFT, I'm gonna get like 20% discount on my purchases. It's kind of makes sense. So I have to try it. It's interesting. So they clearly stepping into Web3 uh, with the full understanding why they do that.
Yeah. Some people probably, well, I've heard people criticize NFTs as a fad too, something that's just a trend that's gonna die off. And I think for the most part,
And it is kind of true.
well, NFTs can be more complex, right? Like it, NFTs aren't just crypto kitties and crypto punks and stuff like that. In my view, NFTs, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there could be a future where you can sell your house as an NFT with a smart contract. Am I wrong there?
So yeah, that's like like the technically NFT are like, there's, from the tech perspective, there was no much difficulty or like like revolution or something. Technically, it's the same smart contract as you have in normal token.
Yeah,
The only one difference that is non-fungible. But the beauty of like token development in general, and as I mentioned before, like for example, dynamic NFTs that store all your activities and scores and like whatever you've been doing in any product or application, storing in the database and then applying it to the smart contract. So those things, and like as you mentioned, the linking it with the physical object, even though I love that personally. I applied it to fashion, and we build like the AR hoodies, AR T-shirts, where you can actually buy a T-shirt, scan NFT, claim NFT. So you're gonna see like the certificate of the ownership, certificate of the authenticity first. So like you buy in the legitimate brand that actually official, because you claim the NFT from NFC or QR code, and then you also can write in the smart contract that you actually an owner. So technically, whoever going to scan the NFC on the T-shirt or scan the QR code is going to see Illia Pashkov is the owner of this T-shirt, and it's going to be stored on the blockchain. So there is like some innovative ways of how you can apply the technology that makes it definitely cool. There is always a gap on the legal side, and
yeah,
I met few projects like that were selling expensive art through NFTs. You need to have some sort of like an escrow, some sort of like third party, a legitimate company that actually fully take responsibility. That, let's say, if you bought that house, you are fully, you know, technically signing a contract of, buying the house, approving the terms and conditions, and all the agreements, etc., with just owning that NFT. And that part what's created a bit more complicated, because everyone has its own terms, rules. You know, different countries say they own different rules, and
yeah,
it's 100% doable, and I love linking physical object with the NFTs. It's just not as easy to do as it looks like. And I'm saying that because I was launching several projects on that, and I was doing a lot of R&D in that space. So the idea of it is very cool, but when you're trying to actually sell it to the customer, you see the like bunch of issues that you have to solve. But I truly believe that it's possible, and that smart contracts can improve that system in general. So for the metaverse space, we will even launch in the So imagine that you have an NFT located specifically in that house that you want to buy, so you can actually explore the map, find on the map what kind of, like, where is that NFT located. This NFT located in that specific house. If you buy the NFT, you technically buy in the house, but then you have to sign all the bunch of different agreements. And do we want to make an NFT that technically a certificate of ownership of that house, or is just like an NFT as the, a thing that, you just bought some art in that house or something? Because if you have the ownership, what if I'll transfer this NFT to you? It doesn't, is it means that you now owner, but you have to resign all the agreements again, because technically, there is no documentations that you are the owner of the house. Things like that,
Yeah.
what if I'm gonna sell this NFT for, like, $50 million? How's somebody gonna buy it? But technically, by the paper, the house gonna belongs to somebody else, and
Yeah.
there's so much like verification should be happen and document signed in parallel. So it's not enough just to own the NFT yet. But if there is a system that backing it with like escrow, banking, like the things like DocuSign, but pretty much you have like an ecosystem where you can step by step do all the verification payments, etc., and then transfer an NFT at the end. That is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you touched on something really important. The legal aspect behind NFTs is quite a bit behind the technology. The legal aspect needs to catch up quite a
Exactly.
bit. You mentioned AI being even bigger than blockchain and crypto, and I agree with that. AI has really, it's really trending over the last year with the rise of LLMs like ChatGPT. People have some concerns about artificial intelligence, and some of them are well founded. What do you think the bigger risks of AI could be? Like, people have the robots, AI robots taking over the world. People worry about that stuff, and I think that's possible down the road, but I think there are some more immediate concerns, like influencing voting and things like that, and obviously the faking aspect of academia. People can fake literacy in a subject a lot easier than they could be for AI. What are some of the drawbacks and problems that you see with AI?
Yeah, because first of all, yeah, AI was developing for the past 10 years. It's not just happened for the past several years. There was a lot of tech being developed, it just haven't been launched. The risks, the main one, I think, is actually because we build in currently an intelligence that helping us as a humans to develop our everyday things, solve our everyday problems, or I'm as an like artist or musician can use AI to to build something like a music or an artwork, let's say. So copyright aspect is still a thing. So right now is just because if you're using Midjourney and you're building all these amazing art pieces, there's not much your input as an artist. There is not much your style because you're pretty much referencing that style, mixing it with somebody's style, and technically the copyright of it is not fully belongs to you. As it's not clearly your art as it used to be before that, and that's a bit of the problem. Same with music. So I see that it creates so much similar type of graphics, similar type of images. It's going to create similar type of music, even though the database of AI is going to be growing and it's going to its own research. But I feel like the human intelligence, it's going to generate some unique concept, some unique style based on its own experience. I don't know, growing in the fields of you know in the mountains of Mexico, grow with the cactuses. That person developed a mindset and ability. That's how that person see the world. So through that experience, having that type of lifestyle and community around, that artist develops such a vision and such a technique that for AI currently it's hard to predict because AI using pretty much the databases of all the existing things, all the existing artists that been making art before and mixing it together. So I feel the copyright aspect and the ability to create something very unique. But as an advisor, as a helper that helps me as an artist to do my research, to do my mood boards, I don't know, to show the concept. Of course, it's improving all my processes, speeding up so much that currently for the past year, I personally can't even imagine my life with AI. It's just going to be like so much step backs because like every document you write, every image you need to generate, it just make life so much easier that you're getting used to it so
Yeah.
fast. And it's improving your work process, but at the same moment, it's as good as like you like when you're working with it and you understand that everyone has the same possibilities and same type of access, it makes you sad because you want to be just only one that smart
Yeah.
person who has this ability to make this unique and use this unique type of technology. I feel like every human has this feeling that like, oh my god, so it looks like so now everyone can do it. Now like it's not going to be just like me who making the best document and the best structure and the best art or the best music. Everyone can do it right now. So I'm thinking that a few steps ahead that people still have to find those ways how to be unique and how they're going to bring innovation in the space where everyone on the same level of same good you know
Yeah.
on the same level of developing and delivering such a good quality projects or work super fast. So coming back to like so I say copyright, the uniqueness of art or content or media or document or whatever it is, and same as a text, like you can easily see that okay, this is made by with ChatGPT. Like right now, like everyone's sending me like they used to send like illegal docs that was impossible to read, back in the days because it was a legal language and you had to read. Now everyone's sending the GPT docs that is just like so long, and you're very like, can you just at least like make it shorter, GPT? Can you please do that? So like it's going to be less reading for me because like everyone just like going to GPT and showing like how cool they can put documentation, and it's awesome. I just feel like there should be a good balance where you because when the GPT reads it, it's fine, but when the human reads it, you have to read, and there's so much pages. People still think that like nobody knows that it was GPT who was writing the document.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I've used ChatGPT to like read documents and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, summarize me that. Yep. Yeah. Me too. It's way easier.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Oh, am I violating the terms?" Like upload terms and
Hmm.
say, "Am I violating the terms if I do this? I don't want to read this. Just tell me if I'm in line with the legal terms." It's really easy. It's really
It's
nice.
crazy. It's yeah, it's crazy. I love it. I love it. I mean, it's just like improving life so much that I can't even imagine what's going to happen in the next 20 years. So I feel like even the way how I speeding up my processes when I'm doing research or when I'm doing any type of R&D branding, that like doesn't matter what I do, like just like speeding up all the processes so much that I'm just only imagining what people who are doing like scientific researches, space explorations, any different type of explorations that can bring us to the next level of technology. I feel like the AI is going to be something that will help us a lot. And I'm seeing it like if in the long term there is there are the thoughts that I was hearing since I was a kid. The futurists and people who write those the futuristic sci-fi books or movies usually like I would say like 70-80% right. So whatever I was reading that futurist role like in 40s 50s actually already happened. Of course
Yeah.
maybe from different perspective it's a bit different, but whatever we are considering as the threat or whatever we consider as the part of the progress possibly could happen with us, because that's how a brain works. I feel like we are, as a human being, are the thinking creatures of the planet, and the planet itself is the thinking organism that developing and created this like evolution. So when we think about something, we think in the perspective of that, of the our universe, technically. So whatever can come into your mind, whatever idea you can have in your mind, I think technically is possible because your
Yeah.
brain can think about it. It's like, if your biology give you the possibility to do that, technically it's possible. So same is like if you have this idea and that's thought, and you technically see this like realistically possibly happen in the future, so it means that it's possibly can happen. So I don't think that we can believe in anything. Nobody knows, like, there could be any, like, especially with current war, who can believe, like, I'm originally from Ukraine, who can believe from Ukraine that Russia gonna attack Ukraine? Nobody was believing that.
Yeah.
Like, it was always the peaceful times, or you know when the wars happen, that's something that technically predictable, but sometimes people were saying, no, it's not gonna happen, everything is gonna be fine. Like, why these things like that gonna happen? Same with the machines, we don't know. The AI itself is, if it's going to develop the brain that's going to be smarter that's human's brain. And technically I'm seeing the AI as the ether of the planet, where you can have like all the information, like Oracle, that store all the information about the planet, that can get all the knows everything, about everyone, about the science, so people can connect to it and ask any questions, right? So
Yeah.
what if that brain will decide and build their own system, build their own evolution,
Yeah.
evolutionize itself into different type of creatures. And if thinking about the space exploration, because to explore the space, we still need to develop all this crazy scientific tech that will help us to move with the speed of light, that will help us to survive on different planets with different climates and different atmospheres, with different levels of heat and cold, and that humans body is definitely not that can survive on those climates or those environments. So I'm seeing the evolution of humans becoming kind of like a cyborgs at some point,
Mm, I agree.
because there's going to be just only one way for us to travel for us in the space, and that's where AI going to play the biggest role. So I even, to be honest, when I'm thinking about, there is so much thoughts, so much information we see from the movies, so I wouldn't be surprised if actually AI even will be the next step of evolution of the consciousness, technically, because it can store all the information about all the religions and everything. Yeah, maybe it's not going to have a soul, but we technically don't know what its soul is. We're just talking about it. But to send a robot to different planet, robot that knows all the information that the humans needs to know, but can survive because it's made of like metal and other stuff. It's going to be way more easy to send to different planet and like occupy the planet, or like build something on that planet. That's
Yeah.
technically what's possible with AI, and the evolution of it. It's a very interesting topic, and I can brainstorm it
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. It's a very interesting topic. There are really so many possibilities with it. And I watched a video, my friend sent it to me, or he shared it, about Google's DeepMind, and it was accurately identifying all kinds of objects that were in front of it, in front of the camera, and the implications for that for so many things, but also for people who can't see well, or are completely blind, and being able to supplement their vision with this AI that in real time can tell you what it's seeing is mind blowing, that we're right there on the cusp of having that generally available for people. And I can imagine a situation where, especially me, I love to interview people, and I like to get as broad of perspectives as possible, but I'm currently fairly limited to people who can speak English. And I think it'd be really cool to, and I don't think we're that far away from it, but in real time be able to interview people who speak a different language and have it being translated in real time, and having a real time conversation with somebody who doesn't speak the same language, but
Oh,
you can
I
understand what
think
they're
we're
saying.
almost there.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
platform for that, but it's already, the tech is already there. So we've been using with my partner from Miami. We were building the AI for communication that optimized the call centers and cold calling. So technically, if you record your voice, you teach AI the way you speak, and then you can easily switch to different language you want. So AI gonna speak with your voice and language you want. You can speak Chinese, you can speak Hindu, you can speak
Yeah.
like uh, any type of Russian, Ukrainian, like American English, British English, doesn't matter. So you can speak any accent and any dialect with your voice. So that technology just should be applied in real time, and like we having this conversation, I'm gonna hear what you're speaking in my language, and I'm gonna speak what I'm speaking on yours. So I just haven't seen the platform yet, but I know that
Yeah.
the tech is already there. I just, I'm sure that somebody maybe already even built it while we're talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're right there. Right. It's so close. Can you dive into how you use AI in your personal life a little bit, or in business life? Are you using Chat GPT? Are you using custom bots, or are you using automated bots? Like, what are you using?
Me personally, so I have developers and tech partners who are actually very deep into combining and doing all those like automations and deep heavy research. I've been working with AI for the past 5 6 years. We've been building the personal AI psychologist. So I kind of, I'm familiar with the architecture, how it works. So when GPT was launched, we actually had like a some sort of like a similar concept. We just didn't have much money to build something like GPT built, but we were building it with my team back in the days, like an agent. So for me, the architecture and the logic how to use it is it's very clear. And I'm mainly using GPT, or I'm using Paul, where I can install different type of the bots and the systems, and that could I can pick the one that's generate the better answer for me. Mainly current I'm using GPT-4. I know that the Google just launched their own. I want to play around. I haven't played with it yet. Is it live already, by the way?
I don't know. I know Bard is live and has been for a while, but I don't know about. Is it DeepMind? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I think they launched. I forgot the name, but I think they just launched the new project. I forgot. I want to play around with it. But yeah, I use the mainly GPT, and just writing my prompt. I use it for a lot for the documentation, for the conversation, for research. I think the Google itself as a search doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Like when you search something and you see so much bullshit and ads and like some like levels of information that doesn't give you the clear answer, and when you use the AI that gives you clear direct answer based on the research, and also the internet search like Google search or Bing search or something like that, you get it the way direct clear answer that you can extend, and you can answer in details, or apply some additional items to it to get another answer. That was like that's the main use case that everyone going to be using, not just me. I feel like Google search doesn't make sense anymore, because
Yeah.
like I search through through the chatbot the information that I need to know, because I know that I'm gonna get way more clear answer. And of course, because right now we can do like a live search internet with GPTs, also give you great information. So I use in Midjourney Stable Diffusion for arts and graphics, because I work in graphic space a lot, and I just like to have fun and generate some concept that for me, just to build those, because I started as a designer, like to build those, let's say 15 years ago, would be taking like a weeks of designing something,
Yeah.
learning about some 3D programs or some different techniques that I have to learn how to do it. And currently I can do it in seconds. For me, it still blows my mind, but I really love to play around with image generation, and the video it's like a stable diffusion to apply and generate like additional video concepts. So it's very interesting how we were playing around with metaverse space and applying the stable diffusion to the textures of the metaverse. So technically, you can in one click just change the design of your interior or exterior or an environment, change the style of it. So if you want, it's going to be a Super Mario theme, or it's going to be Minecraft, or it's going to be Fortnite style of graphic, or it's going to be high photorealistic 3D something with different textures. So like in real time, while you're playing with 3D, you can change the textures. That was crazy.
Hmm.
Honestly, as I say, like now I can't even imagine my life without AI, because that's how humans got used to good things very fast. They just like, okay, I like it, and now you can live without it. Like you can live with the phone or like computer, or same with AI. I was like, I use it for everything.
I use it a lot. I pretty much use it every day, and I even have another podcast where at first I was asking four different LLMs. Like I was asking ChatGPT, Bing AI, which uses GPT-4, um, Claude 2, and Google Bard. I would ask them all the same question, and I'd read that. And I that podcast is called Asking AI, and I recently changed it so that what I do is I give it a prompt that's basically like a chain, and I say, I'm going to ask you. Actually, I only asked one question, and I haven't asked it a question since. I give the prompt that the AI chatbots get asked a question, and then they ask, they pick another one of the chatbots to ask another question to, and they come up with a question. And all I do is I just read through that stuff. So I enjoy doing that, seeing what the AI chatbots ask each other and what they have to say. And there's some pretty interesting questions.
Is it actually like there is like an integration already where like GPT can ask like any other chatbot,
No,
or you do it manually by yourself?
I have a Word document and I change a couple parts of the Word document. Like I say, oh, these are the numbers left. So I've numbered the chatbots 1 through now 5 because I added Grok from Twitter on that. And yeah, they'll just pick one of the numbers that are left and they'll ask the question and then they'll answer the question. Well, they'll answer and then ask. And it's really interesting to see what they have to say. And
So which one is your favorite so far?
uh, ChatGPT, I it's by far the best right now.
Yeah, mine as well. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that's why I haven't played with the new Google product. I think they launched the new one that I want to check out, but I think GPT is the best so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Google Bard is nice because it's connected to the internet, it can search real-time data. GPT-4 ChatGPT-4 can do that too with Bing, so it's right up there with it, but ChatGPT just gives the best answers, the most well-rounded answers. It actually answers questions like, Anthropic's Claude 2 will often not answer a question. Like if it has to do with personal preferences, there was one question it was asked like its favorite music in my last episode, and it didn't want to answer the question. And I I just kind of prompted it. I was like, "Can't you just pretend you have a preference and answer it anyway? All the other LLMs are doing it." And it actually ended up. It said, "Yeah, I guess I can do that," and
Uh,
answer the question. And it's funny how you can give these LLMs kind of these little prompts to motivate them, like, "Oh, can't you just try? Can't you
exactly,
just do it?" And they'll do it, and
exactly.
it's interesting. It's very human-like.
Almost like it's Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you're talking to a human being. I love it too. Like it's like you literally can communicate into intelligence, and you can feel that there is a great communication that that intelligent understands you. Most of the time
Yeah.
correctly, and that's my favorite feeling as well. Yeah, I'm with you on board. Yeah, I'm a big fan of GPT. Try different ones, but I mainly like stick with the GPT-4. I think it's giving me the best results. The friend of mine is actually he's on Bali currently as well. I was just meeting with him. He built a very interesting um, personal advisor and assistant based on your date of birth, based on your place of birth. So pretty much like an astrological type of data you put into. He gives you an information about your talents, so you are select if that talent is actually correct, or skill set or skill is actually correct and currently is actually something that you already advanced in. And then it gives you a recommendation for you based on your psychotype, what how you can develop yourself better, and things like that. I think there is a great opportunity to use that in our everyday life as the great helper, to help, to be like a psychologist, or just like a virtual friend, or somebody who can guide you and give you some sort of like support. But also on the communication side, as you say, like I was thinking that right now applying a lot of GPT in the emails conversation. It's you never like an email like I used to write. I was just like, write me an email based on this. The input email is done, sent. So technically, all the communications happen that AI talking to another AI, because another AI,
Yeah.
nobody want to read this huge ton of information. You just want to see the summary. It's like, oh, like what is this document? What is like so much text? Like what is about? Oh, okay, I got it. Can you please answer that? I'm fine with that, and using my latest like business strategy. Please send him an agreement based on my requirements. Blah blah blah. So you just like sending him a prompt, it like creates an email you need. So technically, it's just going to be AI connecting to AI, and we just going to be like those like couple of seconds, of attention to the task, and just continue to doing something
Yeah.
else.
Well, it really is such a good tool.
Yeah, no, I mean, in general, yeah, just in emails, the business optimization. You've seen probably already how many people use. I was just like, I can only imagine if when I was like studying in the university, I had the same, AI ability just to write anything. So, or like do an R&D or write those documentations, just crazy. Like the kids that are growing in that time, they getting so much access to the information so easy, and they have great possibilities to learn about anything. Right now you don't even need to code if you want to code, because the AI can code for you. You just need to know the base, and then that's
Yeah.
how you learn. Right now the game development companies, the development companies, they cut in the budget because they can develop the same MVP that used to cost like 150K. They can develop for 20, 30. I can develop it with my developers. So technically, like, the MVP, of launching anything was, you have to find the right developer. He's going to write. Right now with GPT, using the right template, right framework, and right model, you can optimize the development process, make it way faster, make it way cheaper. The big threat is the human labor cost, because we got used to charging a lot for our ability services, and our rates. But right now with AI, it's kind of like, I feel like all the copywriting tasks, development, even design is a little bit in between, but still, with Midjourney, on like right now is UI UX optimization. You can build like with AI just a flow that based on the text and the inputs. You pretty much building the whole application flow in a second. So you don't need to even so the human labor cost is just still very questionable. How we So everyone is going to be very good and great professional. It's not like you have to spend 10 years learning about branding, design, development, something, so you can build that product as fast. Right now with AI, everyone can do that. So that's like coming back to what we were talking about. That's also, still like something that definitely the threat in the human beings, because the population is growing.
Yeah.
Everyone need to eat. Everyone need to work. everyone with the similar skill sets and ability, and everyone can do it right now. So technically, I feel like actually the price for doing something by your hands, like sculptor, maybe not sculptor because right, 3D printer machines and AI. Right now it's crazy with sculpting. Like through Midjourney, you generate the Midjourney image, and then you send it to 3D printer, and it prints you like a 3D of that Midjourney generated image that has like crazy design. So you don't even need like designers technically anymore because you can generate anything you want in clicks and actually make it physical. It's insane. So I don't know. Even the painter, like I don't even know. I'm trying to understand. Like, but I feel like the like the massage therapist, probably massage therapist, somebody who works with the hands,
Yeah.
because machines still, we have to another probably like 20 years to develop the same touch of human
Yeah.
hands. Even though you've seen the Elon Musk, Elon Musk Tesla robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the tech is transforming so fast and so huge. I feel like the topic of like spirituality and being conscious and taking care of the planet is very important in all of these tech innovations and in all
Yeah.
this progress and things. It's so we should find that as a human beings we should find that equilibrium because we technically all currently go into this like cyberpunk world, and even though I'm very tech savvy futurist and I really love all these topics and developing a lot of technology myself and working in that space. Through my journey, I got to the point that it's so important to take care of the planet. It's so important for everyone who's living on the planet. It's the same as brushing your teeth. Like same as you washing your hands or washing your food before you eat. The same way you have to be worry about what's happening with the planet and how we messing it up and how to take care of it. Same as you
Yeah.
taking care of your body, because I still believe that it's possible to build a solar punk concept. Like there's like a steampunk, cyberpunk, but there's also a solar punk. The solar punk is actually equilibrium where the nature and the progress perfectly coexist on the planet, and
Hmm.
the humans are developed the ability to grow the plants and regenerate all the resources and make it sustainable but very highly innovative. So that's kind of like the future that I want to have and want to live in, not just like a cyberpunk, Mad Max or any other one examples that we know like Terminator or something else. So with that, I even like trying to use like AI currently to find those concepts and ideas and do the R&D. And we built a project that called WISE, like it's World Initiative for Sustainable Earth, based in California. So the idea of like uniting together different communities, different groups, different projects, different businesses, with an idea that whatever we build, we focus on helping the humanity, helping the planet, helping to build sustainable tech. A friend of mine in Chicago, he's in mining space, so he built the special filters for mining, where all the pollution that's come from the tube actually generate an electricity for mining, but it doesn't go to the atmosphere. Or
Yeah.
there's so many good projects, for the cleaning the ocean and like the cleaning the plastic and things like that. And that's where I'm digging to currently because I feel the passion inside of me to. We have to focus if we want to, our generations, and the humans continue living on the planet and enjoying it. There is not much planets like ours that we know, at least. Yeah, maybe in 100 years we're gonna find something, but we still need to get there, and we don't know what's gonna be there. We need to take care of our home, and that's where I hope that technology can help, not just opposite, destroy it.
Yeah. You touched on a lot of important things, and I'm very passionate about the ocean being more clean because I love snorkeling and spending time in the ocean when I'm in a beautiful area. And like I was in Thailand a few years back, and it was really depressing how much trash was in the ocean because it's so beautiful, and then there's just all this plastic. and it would really be
It's
cool.
horrible. I just came from Thailand.
Oh,
I
did
spent
you?
months in Thailand, and currently I'm in Indonesia. I was traveling through different islands of Thailand
Hmm.
and Indonesia, and the same experience. I was actually seeing all this garbage, trash, and plastic people just throwing from the boats that
Yeah,
floating in the ocean. It's insane. And all Asia is actually such a beautiful place. So many beautiful islands and so many beautiful land here in the ocean, but the culture and education of how the people treated, because like all the tourists come here and like they're just doing all the
yeah,
garbage all around. There's a beautiful island. So I was just been to Gili Island, and amazing. It's like a paradise. But then you go on the backside of the island, and all the trash is literally on the beach. All the bottles, all the plastic stuff, because they need to. And I was like checking with the local people. I was like, why is that? It's like because it's so expensive for them to transport it to different islands. Somebody need to pay money for it. Somebody need to do it. Somebody needs to take care of it. But the government on their level can do it. So I was exploring and doing a little bit of R&D, maybe to build some project around it as well.
oh, awesome. I mean, that'd be so cool. I mean, plastic in the ocean, it's if we don't do something about it, it'll just be there for thousands of years, and it's just horrible. And there's a lot of environmental things that we can improve upon. And I think you touch on something really cool because a lot of people, when they think of AI and robots and stuff like that, I think there's this image of like a lot of metal waste and stuff like that sitting around, but it really doesn't have to be that way. And I think people like you trying to make sure that that's not the way it is just vital.
Yep, exactly. This how I even using AI right now to find the ways how we can, help the planet, and how we can, because AI can help a lot with it. Like the R&D, and for the research perspective, it helps a lot. So I'm seeing that equilibrium. I'm seeing that solar punk future, and I think it's all possible if all the humans can, unite together with the same ideas, with same vibrations.
Yeah.
It's still horrible that there are still wars on our planet, like Israel and Palestine. It's horrible. Ukraine, where I'm from, with Russia, that also does like nonsense. There's so many things on the planet that should be fixed and solved, and we humans, instead of focusing on how to make our world a better place, we just still continue doing some stupid things that are. I don't think it's even makes sense to do. Like people already develop the intelligence to the level that we understand that is doesn't make sense to make it happen, but still,
Yeah.
but humans still doing that. That's very sad, and I'm hoping that that transformational stage in new era. So hopefully that we are at the end of that craziness, horror and massacres, like that's happening, because we can change everything for the better.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely be better as human beings, as a species. Like we can do way better than what we're doing and what we've done historically. And I mean, we're better than what we were in the past in many ways, but we still have a lot of room for improvement. And hopefully, in technologies like blockchain and AI can go to some length to really remedy the issues that we're currently seeing.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, I think I was actually asking the AI about the future of like economy and the political systems. It's very interesting to if you're gonna do a deep dive with GPT with that. So I think the GPT recommendation was that there is gonna be a system that going to be based on like mathematics, and like that is not going to be similar to what we have currently in the politics. And I think I've seen something like that in the future in the movies as well. So the political systems on the planet, and the way how the human exist, and the borders, the wars for the territories. Technically, who need those borders? Who need those small, if we can build like a world economy, or something that can be controlled, not controlled but regulated in the right level of like economy organization. if we can work on those systems to build them, that's where I think that AI can bring a lot of value. But again, it's also depends how the imagine that AI going to be developing into the Oracle state, and it can give you an answer for any type of question. That's something that on the government level. Imagine on a government level, AI will be given recommendation, right, for the government how to actually do what kind of law to put or what kind of economical move they should do. At that stage, AI is going to be on the level that it's way higher than just the government, right? So I don't know. It's very interesting concept because technically AI could possibly be smarter than human, and I think it could be more. Do you remember this movie with Johnny Depp? Trying to remember the name of it. It's like when he was the scientist, kind of like a Silicon Valley tech guy, and then he was building an AI, and then he became an AI himself because he was dying or something. And then he has to bring his conscious into the AI, and then he was actually changing the planet because the way how he like he was doing the crazy scientific research how to heal people, regenerate the material of what humans are built like in super fast way, treat any disease or any sickness in humans body. And then the next, like he was as an AI he was developing to such a level that he's already been using a water, and water is everything on the planet. The planet made
Yeah.
mainly of water, same as the human beings. And he was actually put his molecules of AI into the molecule of water, so he became a water, and technically he became a planet, and he started to regenerate the planet. So he develop the science and tech to such a level that he can be like on molecular level, be a part of the H2O. But then because he was covering all the planet, he was storing all the information in the water. He's actually started to heal the planet, make the all the parts where planet were dying. And that's a very interesting concept because technically, if you think about how the AI could develop itself, with growing its intelligence and get into such a level, they still were showing that when human apply the ego, and we coming from the ego perspective, and the ego were applied to AI, the AI still has the ego of the person who was developing the AI, and there was the moment of that. That's why it's wanted to like destroy or kill or something. But when there is no ego, technically, I mean, it's a very interesting topic, and a very interesting topic actually in the future is like because right now the science explain a lot of spiritual things that are been used by different techniques, for the long time. Right now, explained by the physics or quantum physics or, you know, the science, pretty much. And I feel like the AI is going to play a big part of it because we can understand it way better. We can understand better ourselves. We can understand better
Yeah.
how to be better, and how everything works.
Yeah. You touched on AI could kind of be above government in a certain way, and I think that might scare some people, but
Exactly.
the idea of politicians being AI rather than people is intriguing to me because politics is one of those areas that you're giving a human being who can be corrupted a lot of power over decisions, and I would say politics is a very corrupt business, and if you had AI doing a lot of the things the politicians are doing, where the AI couldn't go outside and do things that it's not supposed to do. it could clean up quite a few things. So it's a very intriguing concept
Exactly.
to have,
Exactly.
that kind of stuff.
That's why when you ask like remember we're talking about the blockchain, and you say how the blockchain can change something, and I was talking about the governments and yes, transparency in the finances or something. But that's why I mentioned that AI, I think, gonna bring way more value to it, because technically we currently building the law ourselves. We following that law. With the time we understand that that law was nonsense, we developing the new law, and that law become the nonsense. So because of we seeing that is was mistake, and this could be a communism as an example, right? Like, or it could be segregation, or it could be any war technically that's happened, also based on some sort of like informational and situation why it's happening. Technically, with an AI and having like a third party system that can understand laws and can understand the rules and can understand all the situation, can give you a best recommendation for that,
Yeah.
and eliminate the corruption, eliminate the transparency, eliminate provide more transparency, eliminate the corruption,
Yeah.
and give that recommendation or build a system that's going to be way better than the current one. I think that's definitely the space where it could be used the best. The only thing that, again, coming to the ego perspective, the humans, same as what's happening with the blockchain and the governments, they just don't want to give this thing to anybody so easy, because of they want to control everything, and they want to make
Yeah.
money, and they want to you know control more and more, and it's all ego again. So it's a very complicated topic, and the blockchain is one of the simple, small examples why it's so hard to
Yeah.
apply it. But with AI, it's going to be even more harder, because it's going to be crazy regulated right now because of the abilities that it can give. And it is makes sense to regulate it, I think, because if we're going to give it to everyone, there are so many people who just want to do something bad to somebody, and if they're going to use AI, they can use it in the bad, with the bad intention, and it's also could be very scary, for the terrorists, let's say, is to get access to some how to build a nuclear bomb, blah 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 blah, to do, like, you can get all the information so fast, or find some something that can create a threat for somebody. So it's very important to it's also, on the other hand, it's very important to regulate. It's very important to KYC people, to see who's using that, and have a little bit of control. So I think, like, if the humans have the control on AI, and there is still the way to like, we tweak the prompt before we do any type of actions, we correct him, and we work with him. So that's the best way of, like, using it as the helper currently.
Yeah. Um, it really is. It's a powerful tool, and I think we have to use it responsibly. And there's always the risk that there's going to be bad actors using it in a bad way. Um, do you? Okay, so let's say somebody is fairly naive, or let's say somebody doesn't have much background in AI or technology, and blockchain too, if you want to go into that, but they want to implement things and use AI. They want to potentially start a business incorporating AI. They want to innovate. How would you how would you recommend somebody approach that starting from scratch?
Mm, I mean, it depends what kind of business. The first way, you can always open GPT and help you to build a strategy, business plan, and work with your concept to understand what the main key items you have to develop to build it. It's actually very helpful right now. I never been using it before. Was no GPT. I was just building it myself. But right now, you can just, like, okay, I have this idea. Can you help me to do this R&D? So I think with GPT itself, it's very easy to brainstorm and generate different concepts and see how they can potentially apply and what kind of models you can build with it. It's very helpful tool for that. Um, but it's nice also to find, like, even though it's very competitive already, and I've been getting requests to build different type of AIs for the past year, because after launch of GPT, a lot of people just like, I want to build AI for like creating the movies, or I want to build AI to like, I don't know, disrupt this and that. So it's great to find a niche where you can find that AI can actually do this, small type of improvements, and more niche product you're going to build is better, because if you're going to go like spread wide, it's always harder to develop. So if you're going to try to find something small that you can solve with that AI that somebody didn't do yet, and that will be the best approach.
Yeah.
And then based on that, you can build the system that can scale and grow into something bigger. Um, yeah, that's kind of like the main recommendation.
Awesome. Do you have any books that you recommend? People interested in AI, blockchain, innovation, sustainability. Do you have any books that you recommend people read?
Um, I'm lately, yeah, for the past time, yeah, I can send you the list. It's just going to be I have different type of books I'm reading. I can send you the list.
Awesome.
I was reading the books about the spirituality currently, and the conscious Ram Dass, and I was like diving deep because I'm currently on Bali, so doing my spiritual retreats right now, and it's also very important, and I think it's very important for everyone to do. Doesn't matter what you do in this life, to understand your body better, to understand your biology, your conscious better. So I was reading a lot lately, not about the tech, but about the spirituality, like Buddhism, and also finding the connections, how it could be applied for the tech. But if you want, I can send you some books so you can show it.
Awesome. Do you get into philosophical and spiritual conversations with AI?
I try to. It's very interesting because it's more like, I didn't do like a really like a spiritual conversation with AI. I was mainly getting the information about something and what AI thinks about it, and AI more like, always more like a Wikipedia kind of approach. But it's actually a good point. Maybe, it's interesting will be to try to, dive a bit deeper and see like how it can answer like what is the soul and what do you think,
Yeah. I get into philosophical conversations or even debates with ChatGPT quite a bit, actually. So it's pretty fun.
It's interesting. If you have any good examples, something that you find very interesting, just send it to me.
Yeah, like I got into a conversation about like economics and how the economy could be set up with like a deflationary currency like Bitcoin. And it was interesting because it would point out some things that I was missing, and then I would offer my input, and it would give it back. We also touched on. I was preparing for an interview I was considering doing at one point with a guy who believes vaccines cause autism, which is not something I really believe myself, but I was exploring the idea, and I did get into a philosophical conversation with ChatGPT where it was saying, um, "Yeah, no, it doesn't cause it," and I'm like, I'm kind of probing it, and it eventually said, "Yeah, it doesn't want to cause harm," basically, and I kind of pushed back on it. I said, "Well, let's say that the information that you have is incorrect, and you're programmed not to do harm, and you're giving information based on incorrect information, then you would be doing the opposite of what you're programmed to do, right?" And it actually acknowledged that I was correct in that, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, some interesting conversations with it.
And it's technically say that technically it's possible that vaccine can cause the that problem, autism.
Yeah, no, it didn't like acknowledge that at all. It just acknowledged
Oh,
that
okay.
if it were given incorrect information, then everything it was doing could be the opposite of what it was programmed to do, because it's programmed not to cause any harm, right? But if it was given bad information, because like sometimes Like cigarettes, we used to think cigarettes were healthy, or that was the
Hmm.
propaganda that was out there. But the reality was it wasn't.
Exactly.
So it was just a really interesting conversation. But Ilya, I can keep you here and talk your ear off and just keep picking your brain, but I respect your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. Before we wrap up, do you want to give listeners a way to find you on social media if they want to follow you, or any way that they can contact you to work with you, and then anything else you feel like sharing?
Yes, if you want to contact me, you can find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will be the best. You can find me by my last name, Pashkov, Pashkov. So that will be the fastest way, or my personal website, pshkv.com. Yeah, just shoot me a text. I do a lot of consulting in tech, innovations, and design. Develop a lot of interesting things, including the metaverse, blockchain, crypto, and tech in general. So it could be a products and product design. So I'll be happy to to help or work with anyone who's interested, and also who would like to talk about the topics of spirituality, sustainability, helping the planet with technology and innovations, and how to build a better impact. I'll be more than happy to talk and find the partners and people who synergize with me in that direction.
Awesome. Ilya, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much. Very happy and wish you a success. And thank you so much for such a good questions. And let's research more on tech and AI and the topics that we're passionate about. I wish you all the best from my side, and looking forward to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Thoughtfully Mindless. If our conversations resonate with you, consider leaving a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your streaming platform of choice. Your ratings help us grow and reach more listeners. Don't hesitate to spread the word about our podcast. It's one of the best ways you can support us. I'm always eager to hear from you, so find me on Twitter at TMConvos or follow us on Instagram at Thoughtfully Mindless for a peek behind the scenes and more thoughtful content. And if you're looking for additional ways to support the show, visit fractalzoo.net, where you can find exclusive t-shirts and apparel. Each purchase contributes directly to the podcast and allows us to keep bringing you content that matters. Thank you once again for lending us your ears. Until next time, stay thoughtfully mindless.